Recorded Books presents Daughters of the Grail by Elizabeth Chadwick, narrated by Amy Scanlon. Raoul! Gathering her skirts, she sped down the hall and flung herself into her husband's arms, pulling his head down to hers, kissing him, weeping. His embrace tightened around her, and he buried his face against her cheek and throat. She felt him shuddering, heard him groan her name, and when he released her, she was appalled at what she saw. It came to her that this was how he would look in old age, a frightening glimpse of what was to come, when he was only 23. Her fingertips caught on some broken pieces of thread on his surcoat, and she saw that the Crusader's cross she had so reluctantly stitched to it had been ripped off. After a moment, he set her gently to one side, his attention upon his mother, who was watching the knights enter the hall, her gaze searching ever more frantically. Claire's hand went to her mouth as she realized what the expression on Raoul's face heralded. "No," she whispered. "Oh, dear God, no." Chapter 1. The Black Mountains of the High Languedoc, Summer 1207. Bridget knew her mother was dying. The golden life force that should have shone steadily within and around Magda's body was a pale flicker, and her injuries did not respond to the surge of healing energy from Bridget's hands. Outside the mountain cave in which they were sheltering, a summer storm raged across the High Languedoc. Bridget felt the lightning within herself and saw its vivid flicker through her hot, tired lids. She had been born during such a storm, and the power of the lightning was in her veins. It was a sacred life gift, a manifestation of the forces of the one light. But tonight, it came to take her mother. "Don't leave me," Bridget whispered in a tear-choked voice. "Please, don't go. I'm so afraid." She bent her cheek to her mother's hand. The fingertips were crusted with blood, only raw flesh where trimmed pink nails had recently been. The slender wrists wore weeping red bracelets where manacles had abraded the skin. Those wounds would have healed in time, but not the one upon Magda's forehead, where the priests had branded her to the bone with the sign of the cross she had refused to kiss. Witch and heretic, they had called her. Foul devil's whore. Her poor mother, who had never done or wished anyone harm in her life. Her mother's eyelids fluttered and lifted. "You have many years to live," she whispered, "and a duty to fulfill. You are the last of my line." Her throat moved as she struggled to swallow. Bridget helped her to sip from a small wooden cup filled with water from the spring at the back of the cave. Magda drank, although most of the liquid dribbled down her chin. Her grey eyes were wide and bright, all her remaining life force concentrated in their gaze. "You must find a consort when the moon time is right to seed your womb. That is the way it has been since the great stone circles were raised, before the holy thorn was planted." "But, Uncle Cratian," Bridget started to say, and cast an involuntary glance over her shoulder towards the dark cave mouth. "Your uncle will not stand in your way. He is a Cathar, and for him it is necessary to be celibate. But he knows it will not be that way for you." Bridget listened for the sound of footsteps outside, but heard only the wind hissing through the stunted trees on the mountainside and the lash of the rain. Her Uncle Cratian and his companion Matthias had gone to find a shelter for the horses. There was no room in the cave, but Matthias had noticed a derelict goat shed lower down the slope. Although it was closer to the village, no one was likely to be abroad to see them in this weather. The fire she had kindled earlier was dying, and her mother's hand resting in hers was icy. Bridget set more firewood on the embers. Closing her eyes, she reached down inside herself and drew forth her life energy in a lightning bright thread. Flames surged beneath the outspread hand she passed over the fire, leaping as if on strings to her command. The strange animal paintings on the cave walls rippled with an illusion of life in the clambering flare of light and contrast of shadow. Bridget knew if she sank deeper into her trance, she would see small, olive-skinned men marking the walls with fire-blackened sticks, painting pictures of their prey to invoke success in the hunt. She would hear their sacred chant and taste the smoke of their fire, burning where hers now burned. Flame to flame, she felt the connection before she withdrew her hand and turned once more to her mother. "It is so difficult to bear," she said softly, and heard her own voice echo off the walls with the forlorn note of,
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.